Today we're going to be looking at Noel Coward, the Master, and find out why he was given that special name. He was an English playwright, composer, director, actor and singer, known for his wit, flamboyance and what Time magazine called a sense of personal style, which was a combination of cheek, chic, pose and poise. Clever that. Pam Ayres was born in Stamford in the Vale, Berkshire in 1947. She was the youngest of 6 children and, by her own estimation, no great scholar, so she left Farringdon Secondary School at the age of 15 with no qualifications. She joined the civil service as a clerical assistant at the Army's Central Ordnance Depot in Bicester. She quickly realised that this probably wasn't her vocation, but she continued the services connection when she became part of the Women's Royal Air Force, working in the drawing office on maps and ordnance. She was starting to write her poetry, and while in the RAF, she was encouraged to take part in concerts, where she found she rather enjoyed entertaining others. When she returned home to become a secretary, she began reading her poems at a local folk club, and in 1974 she ended up appearing on the BBC Radio Oxford. This was picked up by the main BBC Radio 4 and included in a programme of Clips of the Week, and so she had a nationwide audience for the first time. Let's hear one of these poems now. And to perform it, I need to transform myself into a cunning vending machine. I am a cunning vending machine bolted to the wall. So you can't kick me delicate parts, I'm lurking in the hall. Come on, drop in your money, don't let's hang about. I'll do my level best to see you don't get nothing out. I might be in your swimming baths and you'll come cold and wet with some money in your hand, some hot soup for to get. And as you stand in wet anticipation of a sup, I will dispense the soup, but I will not dispense the cup. Stand aside, my dear, replied Squeers. Mrs. Squeers, being out of breath with her exertions, complied. Squeers caught the boy firmly in his grip. One desperate cut of the cane had fallen on his body. He uttered a scream of pain. It was raised again and again about to fall when Nicholas Nickleby suddenly started up and cried, "Stop!" in a voice that made the rafters ring. "Who cried stop?" said Squeers, turning savagely round. "I," said Nicholas, stepping forward. "This must not go on." And of course he took Smike out of the establishment and the two of them went on the road together to try and find a better life. The story takes place in a wood in ancient Athens and concerns 2 pairs of lovers, a group of workmen rehearsing a play, and the fairies, who are led by King Oberon and Queen Titania. Famous ballet star Robert Helpmann was playing the fairy king in this production. During an American tour of A Midsummer Night's Dream, no suitable theatre was to be found at one of the bookings, so the company performed in a floodlit sports arena. Sir Robert Helpmann, as Oberon, was given the umpire's dressing room, the nearest the stage manager could find to those usually allocated to the star. When he went round to call the half hour, there was no reply from the umpire's dressing room, so he opened the door to check that the actor was there. He was, albeit a little preoccupied. The stage manager found Robert Helpmann standing on a chair, which was itself standing on a table, craning his face towards the solitary light bulb hanging from the ceiling as he applied his elaborate gold and green eye makeup. "Are you all right up there?" asked the stage manager with some alarm. "Oh yes, I'm fine," said the star, looking down. "But heaven knows how those umpires manage." You may have heard of the D'Oyly Carte Opera Company, which was founded in 1875 and was made famous by the popular Gilbert and Sullivan comic operas. Well, the opera Patience was going on tour in America, and so Richard D'Oyly Carte asked Oscar Wilde if he would go and give a lecture tour of North America where the opera was being performed. He thought that his charm would introduce the style of the artistic types that were caricatured very well. Wilde's ship, the SS Arizona, arrived in America on the 2nd of January 1882, and the tour, which was originally planned to only last for 4 months, continued for over a year because of its commercial success. In his lectures, as he went round North America, he sought to make his audiences think a little bit more about what constituted beauty in life. One of his talks was on contemporary interior design, but a lot of people felt that he rather promoted himself rather than the opera. Though his press reception was hostile, he was very well received by the ordinary people. He drank whiskey with the miners in Lakeville, Colorado, and was entertained at fashionable salons in every city he visited.
But last week, a young chap from the famed RSC, I think he's called Doran, I'm not really sure, rang me up and invited me out on a tour. I said, "Mr. Doran, Gregory dear, there is one point on which I'm not very clear." "Which? Which? Is it first which or second or which? Don't think I insist on a part that is huge, but I've never in 69 years played a stooge. If it's the first which, well, then I should love it, but if it's the second, you know where you can shove it. When we're grouped round the cauldron and watching it bubble, I must be well lit, or else there'll be trouble. We can fix up these things when we start to rehearse, but I must be the harpy who's got the best curse." When I'd done, Mr. Doran said, "Blast, I will not have that bitch in the cast. It appears that I messed up my pitch, so I never discovered which. Queen died out at the back. Oh, and the end was a perfect riddle. One died here, one died there, and another one died in the middle. Oh, it was the most killing piece. But the nicest part for us was walking home in the moonlight. Auntie went home on the bus, and Joe was awfully clever. He quoted out of the play, "To be or not to be, and it's to be next May."
Talk. So let's have a big round of applause for our final talk with our lovely guest lecturer, don't wait to stand, for the wonderful Priscilla Morris. Thank you.
Lovely to see so many of you here this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Right, so as far as I'm concerned, I've left the best till last, because this lady is very definitely my favourite performer writer. Absolutely amazing. And when I described her in my introduction in The Horizon, the fact that she was the Victoria Wood of her period, I think that's absolutely spot on. So I first sort of really came across her in the 1960s, watching her TV show. She had her own TV show in the 60s and again in the early 70s. But let's find out all about her, because I think most of you have come because you remember her too. And she was just a wonderful lady. So here we go. So ladies and gentlemen, it brings us to the end of Joyce Grenfell's talk, and also my talks to you on the ship. I've had a wonderful time. Thank you so much to all of you who've come along to one or two of them. A number of you have come up to me and said, "I've seen you on another ship, and you came again." Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a really good journey home once we've got there, and perhaps I'll see you on another ship at another time. Until then, thank you very much. Bye-bye.